so she met with a team of volunteers for us, and we're going to meet out our room similar to their stuff. And we're going to start this fall with, we've got a 3D laser cutter from Dartmouth. We've got 3D printers, and then we're going to just bring a bunch of tech equipment.
Yeah.
It's really weird, like we're a tech man, like those things go on this side.
Yeah.
And then we have one man coming in who are going to teach us how to code. So this is the main middle school.
That's really great.
Yes.
Is this like your last space that you're
Oh, God, no.
playing, or do you have more room to
There
expand?
is no last.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
It's Pappas.
Avery Duff. Nice to meet you.
You can be there all the time, so it doesn't limit their time.
Yeah.
And then this term,
I know.
that's what I'm most excited about.
I'm 15, by the way.
So this is our kindness room. It's quite small
Awesome,
before.
okay.
So now we have, every Sunday we pick up a truck with Trader Joe's.
Yeah. It's just open.
It's a nice opportunity to
So the kids shop for food on Mondays and Fridays. And then later in the week, because they get really long, they're going to do sneakers and shoes. We're going to do an open house for this new space we just did. Have folks, invite folks to bring school supplies. And then we'll fill that back. Invite all the parents back, whose daughters for scholarships.
Yeah.
And then do some students.
Yeah. And so they're able to shop based on the needs of their family.
And it's interesting, you don't really think about how so many schools do that food, but I was, they come into it's brand new. So I talked to the girls and I just started, these kids said, "Wait, we can take this out." I said, yeah, every Monday and Friday. So she says, wow. I said, are you cool with that? Because we want to make it like, she's like, yeah, we weren't getting food until mom got a tax return. And just, so the more I learn about these groups, the more I want us to do for them, and the community's been stepping up.
And did you set this up just based on what you were hearing and understanding about them?
Because we have a small kindness closet,
Yeah.
and we just couldn't keep enough, we just need more. And so then, I mean, so this right now, this would be,
Yeah.
like it's, the need is off the charts, and so, you know, we can connect the dots and help families, and, you know, you empower them through building, right? But when these kids don't have food, there's so many levels of empowerment here that so it's a big deal. I mean, it's, yeah, it's hard to believe there's, the need is that great. But we just, you know, the more we learn, the more we want to do. And so there's another 7,000 square feet
Yeah.
China case.
But that's not yours yet, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, you know, the STEM room is really going to take off. And we're choosing all the girls from the summer who are showing leadership
Yeah.
capacity in STEM. Some leadership component to it. But, you know, we just keep continuing to elevate because we're just following what's happening now.
Yeah. How many of the summer campers come during the school year?
A lot.
Okay. There's some
Which is challenging because we need more workshops. We need more instructors. We need to realize. I mean, it's so amazing because we learn through the training, through MSK Health, for ACER. The training is so eye-opening. I had no idea physiologically things were happening to girls. When they're in survival mode, the brain shuts down. It just doesn't continue to develop. We learn through this training with the ACER program that it's actually stimulating their brain to grow again because they're safe and they're looked after and they're checking off all these boxes. So now we're doing it more. Because it's, you know, these kids and the environments, we can help reset that. It's not just confidence, it's so much more. So it's really
Yeah, and I guess we'll talk a little bit more about the synergy and the
oh, it's amazing.
partnership.
It's amazing. It's
So there's like a special edition that was made in passing honor, correct?
yes.
I don't want to explain things poorly, but there were, I think, 150 of them made ever. And those were the bits.
Yes, those were, we lost, Timberland lost an employee in 2020, and so she and I have been trying to make this beach happen for a long time, so in her honor, we got the castles. Yeah, it's a mixed thing. Yeah. And this is what our builders, we do a community service project during the week. So they get pre-cut bundles of lumber and they build, because their projects are all individual throughout the week, but then at the end of the week they build together. So we've been donating a bunch of these to area nonprofits.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. And we built a couple of thinner ones because we built a seating area outside for the kids to be outside. There were tenants.
What are other kind of kinds of things you do?
So they do some bookends. They go to walk in the woods. They get a bunch of stuff out in nature. We're trying to use things really thinking around it. So that's their first project. They decorate ways something out in nature. And they have the garden club comes on Tuesday, the Beaches Garden Club. And we have a bunch of plants they build a planter. So we have a liner that the garden club works with on planting all these plants, how to take care of them. They built a planter just so that. And then they build a bench. Actually, they built a large bench right there.
Yeah.
So we're partnering with the Audubon, which is a pollinator garden. So they built a custom bench for outside, but they built a smaller version that's taken home everybody does each week. Build a bulletin board, put a little picture, so they can all have a photo of the picture, and these sign it boards. And there's one more project, and I couldn't even tell you this. We got 4.
Coat wrap? You do a coat wrap?
That's an after school.
Oh, okay.
I'll get back to you.
That's all right. That's all right.
But it's funny because first time parents would come in and they'll say, oh, what are you going to build this weekend? Yeah. We can't really get their head around the fact that they build every day. I mean, once it's all the same steps, right? So each week they get better and better and better. It's pretty balanced, right?
Yeah.
So this, this is the other project we've done.
Oh, I thought we started with the tables.
That's the end of the week, because now they've
Okay.
mastered everything, and then they just all get together and build it together. Well, we step it up, so we have breadboard ends, because picnic tables will typically split and crack and curl in the ends, and breadboard ends are glued to this represent. And then we put duct tape on the bottom as a barrier.
Oh, really? That little trick.
Yeah. Learning over here.
Yeah. Yeah, you're learning too, right?
Oh my god. It's so cool to see little girls build because how you build is so like this is how it's always been done. It's not matter from such a perspective. You're like, the stuff and I in the past when I used to do classes, I couldn't communicate with them. I didn't understand. And the kid that would get it in the shop would say, hey, you tell her. And they they're teaching. So we have 2 16-year-old instructors who do a better job than we do. They're awesome. And they're way smarter. They told me I'm soft.
I have to see that to believe it.
I'm like, okay. So yeah. So that's the school.
Great, great. Well, Well, thanks for the look around, and it's always inspiring to see what's going on here and how the organization has grown and is just really empowering young girls in Manchester to lead successful lives. And I think there's a great synergy between what you do here and ACERT. And I'd love to hear a little bit about how, this new partnership is working. And, I've gotten to know ACERT through the years by talking with law enforcement and with folks in the program. It's a game changer for kids that are experiencing trauma. We know that's all too common in Manchester, but it's giving folks the tools and the services they need to overcome the impacts of trauma and lead healthy, successful lives. So I'd love to hear about the origins of this particular partnership and how it's going to work and how that kind of supplements the other support services that are offered through ACERT.
Yeah, so I'm Skylar, I'm the ACERT family supervisor, but so Adrian actually gave us the connection, letting us know we were going out last summer to meet with families, and we were they're all asking like, what about summer camps? What about summer camps? We forgot to register the kids, and she just like jumped in, and she had this connection already.
There's also like a lack of appropriate programs for girls. There's more
Yeah.
that are geared towards boys. There's still some holes, but I was involved with them for probably a couple years. It's been a couple years.
I think so, yeah.
I was asked to help with the mounted patrol because they bring the horses down. So I came down to help, and I just really fell in love with the program. And then I started working with ACERT, and I was like, why are you guys not connected? So we made that connection, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, and they have been so about like half of the families who go through the referral actually go through just because of things going on at home, and sometimes they're overwhelmed. And so most families who sign up to hear from Girls at Work go through with it, which is amazing to see. And they have had, I think, like, if I'm remembering around, they joined in, what was that, last June, this past August, so like a year ago now. And
It's been about a year.
yeah, and I believe that they've had at least out of 58 kids who are referred on average a month, we send at least like 20 kids their way, I think. Yeah, so.
So out of 58 that the whole program encounters, about 20 are coming to Girls at Work.
Yeah, and that's just
Yeah.
because like it's only girls. So we also refer with the boys to other programs too.
Sure.
But it's giving the girls a great opportunity, and they were great and able to hold 2 spots at least a week for ACERT kids. So even if they're unable to sign their kids up for summer camps at the beginning of the summer, they can squeeze them in. I was just talking to Melissa, the programs manager, and she was saying, yeah, we have 1 more week, but if you have anybody, just send them and we'll get them in for that last week.
Oh wow. Okay. And so throughout the school year, what will it look like? Just rolling ACERT referrals into the regular programming?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we continue to keep spots available because a
Yeah.
lot of these families don't really, I mean, they need the flexibility, right?
Yep.
It's pretty chaotic. But I have to say, I think the biggest, and I don't even know if I've told you, I think the biggest piece for me was we had a training in this room, and you had sent, what's your name?
Dr. Cassie Ackley.
Oh my goodness. So eye-opening. Like, I've always known that building was a huge game changer for girls. But when you're in the world of academia, right, it's like, how do you explain, how do you get across that it's that big of a deal? And that training we had, she talked about how when these girls are in survival mode, their brain doesn't continue to form, doesn't continue to grow. And that when they're in programs such as this that check off so many boxes, it stimulates neural pathways and everything starts up again, which I was completely blown away. I mean, that training was unbelievable.
It was the ACES training.
The
Yeah.
ACES training was fascinating.
And Dr. Cassie Ackley, she's so great. She'll change it for whoever she's seeing. So she trains all the police officers. She trains all our partners. She trains the advocates. And I was able to step in for at least half of that. And she just wants it to be more of a conversation. And it's just what she teaches is so phenomenal. It's all about like letting people know, well, this is why kids are having a hard time. This is why parents sometimes are too frazzled to get their kids into program because they're in survival mode too.
Yeah, I know that's been a problem with other partners. Is sometimes you see a drop off with folks that intend to take that step, but maybe they're not ready for it, or life gets in the way, and
Exactly.
they don't ultimately end up showing up. But it sounds like there's a good success rate here.
Yeah.
How do you measure success and progress with the families that you're working with?
Well, it's different for partners versus us because technically grant-wise, it's if we make a referral, that's a success. And in a way, it really is a success because it's planting seeds for even if they don't go through with it, being open to be able to do it the next time. But so how we are starting this online version of it, when we send referrals, the partners will be able to tell us if they went through services or not. Obviously not the confidential programs like the YWCA and other things, but Yeah, so we'll be able to check in on them, and that's just very undescript. We're not reporting back to anybody else. But
Yeah.
I do think that's full circle too, because I see the success when I come back today and the kids are
Mhm.
like, I know what you use the most. One of the girls said to me this morning, because they always want to know about the things that I'm wearing. And I said, what do I use the most? She said, your mouth. And I was like, you're right, we've met before. So to see them out and about, they remember me from being here, we get high fives, and that's a positive interaction for us, which is awesome. And that to me is a success in my piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Building confidence.
Yeah.
And that's great to see and hear. And it's kind of flipping the, the whole issue with ACEs around, where, kids who experience trauma, these things stay with them and live within them, and who knows how that's going to play out for the rest of their lives. But as you say, planting seeds, giving them this experience, helping them build confidence and skills is something that you might not be able to evaluate just in the short term what it's doing, but we know the science says over their lifetime, this is going to ensure that they've got healthier outcomes.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. And like Adrienne was saying, sometimes just seeing the kids afterwards, and Elaine's seen it all throughout her career of just being able to, how it truly impacts children in that moment, and so they can take it for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Well, it's been inspiring in Manchester to see how this program has originated. ACERT itself is something that was designed because folks came together and said, how are we going to protect these kids who've been going through a number of different things at home? And oftentimes law enforcement, the first face a child will see during a traumatic event, and they need to have the tools to know that there are ways that we can help these kids beyond that really horrific experience that they're living through. And other communities around New Hampshire have deployed these programs, and one of the things we're looking to do at the federal level is to make sure that there's support to allow some of these new partnerships to be developed across the country. So we're really hoping through legislation to take what we're doing here in New Hampshire and providing grant funding for other communities to be able to develop these partnerships. And here you can just see the ways that it happens organically, with a little bit of funding. You get people around a table and they can say, well, my organization does this, and here's how we can potentially help kids. And it's kind of the New Hampshire way. So I'm just really grateful for you sharing a little bit about how this has come together. And I think the opportunities are really endless.
They are, and it's such a brilliant model, right? It's such a common sense model. It's like, you think about it, we're all working with the same families, right? And we're all dealing with the same issues. And so now, if there's funding behind this sort of stuff, and agencies can provide trainings, right? We're going to be that much better at our jobs, right? But I think about, how many other partnerships need to exist. So once we're done with summer camp, if we all survive, we're going to have luncheons once a month for nonprofits. Because I think about this partnership right now, like, how many other partnerships could be happening based on the fact that we're all servicing the same families, right? And I know when our team went through the training, we were just so fired up. So many of our girls who don't even go through ACERT have trauma, right?
Yep.
Are living in poverty or in survival. So it's like, and the training we received helps us do our job that much better for all of the girls, not just specific to the girls that we now know have gone through trauma, but the majority of our girls have, right? And it's such a no-brainer to partner, right? To find ways to work together and support each other in what we're doing, because I think we're also siloed, right? We all need to be in the know of what each other is doing, so we can do that much more for the families that we work with. So yeah, this is, oh my God, I love this model.
It is really amazing to be able to pass these families off on our end when we finish a case off or something, where you leave a clear call and you say, good luck.
Oh my God.
Now we can be like, well, we have this great program that we can refer you guys to that can step in after these things happen. And then we pass them off kind of to like something positive, and
But you're
help.
placing them in the care of the organization.
Instead of just being like,
right.
Good luck.
See ya, good
Now
luck.
we have these different things that we can offer in the end.
Which is how it got
Which is
started
awesome.
to begin with, because the juvenile detectives weren't able to do that before, and that was like weighing on them to see the kids, and obviously weighing on the kids to experience that. And so it's just amazing that like they saw a need, and now and typically that's how the model goes too for the rest of the communities, is the police departments reach out
Mhm.
to the Technical Assistance Center. But yeah, and they are able to help them, as I'm sure you know.
So you're pushing hard for this, are you?
We are, yeah.
Excellent.
We're working on it on the House side. Senator Shaheen's working on it in the Senate, and it's bipartisan legislation. There's nothing controversial about this. This is just about helping kids and
Thankfully.
creating healthier outcomes. And so yeah, we're hopeful we can get some momentum around this.
If there's anything that I can do to help with that, as far as
Mhm.
speaking on behalf of law enforcement need and what I see in that, I'm happy to do that as well.
Oh, it's great to know.
I love this program.
Yeah, and
It's huge.
It does provide, I think, law enforcement with some peace of mind around the work that you're doing. It's not just about
Yeah, I mean, it comes
that
full
one
circle too. I think
experience.
it's so important for them to be able
Yeah.
to sit and have a conversation with us when it's not that traumatic
Mhm.
incident. One of the kids out here was telling me about her traumatic incident. So to be able to sit down after the fact when she's in a positive environment and be able to open up
Yeah.
about that with law enforcement is huge for that processing for her. And I think that that's huge. We don't really get that after the fact,
Mhm.
except in these programs, but not all of them involve law enforcement. And I wouldn't say that we're necessarily integrated within here, but I personally have taken a liking to it, and I come to all the events because I want that.
This started
Yeah,
in New
that's great.
Hampshire?
Yes,
It
in
did.
Manchester, the pilot program in
Mhm.
2016.
2016. We need it everywhere.
But it's recognized nationally as an effective model. In fact, recently I met the Surgeon General of the state of California in Washington, D.C., and she had heard about what was going on in Manchester, New
nice.
Hampshire. She was kind of an expert on ACEs and was asking all sorts of questions around what we were doing here and how it was working. And I think that's great.
That is great.
But oftentimes it comes down to resources, and we don't want funding to be a barrier for this, which is why we're pushing this national grant program that can help get these things off the ground.
Nice.
Yeah, because ACER was able to offer all of our programs
Mhm.
and partners the training, and because some of them, all their budgets need to go towards something else. So it's important that we're able to provide that, so they don't have that barrier.
Yeah.
That training is invaluable. I can't even. It just elevated the meaning behind the work we're doing on so many levels. That was such amazing training.
There was a juvenile detective who took it about a month ago that we
Mhm.
work with, and I was asking everybody individually, hey, how did you feel about that? Any ways that could be better? What do you think? And he was just like, and he's a rough guy, so I was waiting to hear it. And he's like, I've been going to trainings for 20 years, obviously, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, but that training, hands down, the best one I've ever been to. He's like, I understand not just the kids I'm seeing on a daily basis with juvenile, but I also understand my kids more. And he's just like, this makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
I was just gonna say, we all have our own traumas.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon for me to go to a training and take something away from it personally, but I've of course been through that training as well, and it's fantastic. And I forget sometimes that everybody doesn't have that knowledge.
Mhm.
So to hear you blown away by it, I'm kind of like, oh, not everybody knows this stuff.
No, and I can't help but think that training should be in the schools.
Mhm. Well, that's one of the things that is being worked on actually right now is trying to integrate with the teachers more. We talk with the social workers in the school and the guidance counselors at least twice a year to be able to provide that training. But it's also working with the new handoff care system that the police department is setting up, where when a child's mentioned in a police report, they just get it's a national model, like a little check next to their name, completely nondescript, no details. It's just for the teachers to know, hey, maybe if they're sleeping in class, it's because the police were there all night, or if they're having wild behavior issues, it's because they're going through something right now. So we're working with the schools to try to get that a little bit more integrated.
I think even the teachers going through that training would be
Mhm.
incredible.
Yes.
I was on a panel for New Hampshire Business Review,
Mm-hmm.
and in my presentations I brought up ACEs
Mhm.
because it was shortly after the training and I was still off the wall about everything I'd learned, and people just don't know about ACEs. How do they not know about about ACEs, right? Of course, all these years I didn't know about it. Now I'm like, holy crap. So these people came up to me after the presentation. They're like, I can't believe you brought up ACEs. I'm like, why the hell wouldn't I bring up ACEs? Like, it's amazing to be aware of kids' behaviors based on and all this data and all this information. Like,
It's hard stuff and people don't want to hear it or talk about it, but it's important that we hear it and
it's
talk
gonna
about
help.
it.
It's gonna help everybody do their jobs so much
Agreed.
better.
Yeah.
And it's so helpful for us as people working with these kids, right? Whether you're a teacher, whether you're in a nonprofit, whatever it is, right? Like, the more knowledge you have, and the better you can understand these kids and what they need, it's gonna make such a difference. It's gonna make such a, I mean, it has for us. You know, we have, and we hired AmeriCorps graduates this summer. Best thing I've ever done. Holy cow, the social emotional learning component they bring to the table, now all I want is AmeriCorps. Because they're so, they created a comfort center.
Mm-hmm.
So when the kids, they're elevated from whatever trauma in the shop, they understand now they need to remove themselves from the shop and sit themselves in this area, and there's a timer, and there's a chart with all these feelings, and like, I've learned so much this summer, and that training just was a kickoff.
That's amazing.
Oh my God, I just like, I mean, I've loved what I've done for 23 years, but now I'm like super stoked about what we're doing, because there's so many more levels to it that I had no idea about.
Getting that information out would be really
Huge,
powerful.
huge game changer.
And it's either we understand it today, we make investments today, we provide support today, or these problems manifest themselves and they're far more costly and tragic to deal with as these kids.
And expensive to our societies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think of that information is so beneficial to everyone. It's a game changer. This is important stuff. I'm really glad you're behind it.
Well, thanks for what you're doing. And it, again, all originated based on some great partnerships here in Manchester. So we're proud of this and want to share this with the rest of the country because it's going to help and save lives.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
What's going on upstairs? It's noisy up there.
I need a comfort circle. Because I want to go upstairs. It's the Sea Science Center.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
It sounded
Yeah,
like it
didn't-
was dogs or something.
It's,
I wasn't sure.
Circus,
Kids,
Olympics,
dogs.
whatever
Yeah,
you want to call it. I didn't really think that one through when I took the location.
Yeah.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's quite loud. But I didn't want to put a drop ceiling. Like, look how cool this is.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
So it's the price you pay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that's great. Well, just think what these buildings sounded like when they were, all the
Right.
machines were humming and,
Well, and part of their week of camp, they go downstairs to the museum
yeah.
and they learn about girls in the industrial era.
Mhm.
And it's the coolest. Like, there was a girl who was 12. She had done a patent. There was a device that was flying off the machines, and people were getting decapitated.
Uh-huh.
They don't say that. They say injured. Because they're like, what's that mean? I'm like, let's not talk decapitated.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, so this 12-year-old girl back in the day designed a device that kept this from happening, had it patented, and then went on to patent all these other things that she had created. And so when the girls come up, they have these mini looms and they're doing all this stuff, and they're all about, did you hear about that 12-year-old girl? I'm like, no. Right? And we make such a big deal because they're 8, they started 8 here.
Mhm.
And, planting seeds about what you can do, right?
Mhm.
Age doesn't really matter.
Yep.
It's awesome. It's so awesome.
What you can do is the big piece of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I see in it. These girls need to know that they can do whatever they want. The job fairs that they did here, they've done a couple of them. I'm not sure if you saw that.
Mm.
The 2 peer support, not peer
16-year-old.
support.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
They
I don't know.
started a job fair because they felt
Wow.
like job fairs that they had been to were geared towards
Mhm.
boys. And when they went, the demonstrations were being done for them instead of showing them how to do them. So they decided that they would do their own for girls. And it was all of these different businesses had bought into this, and it was wildly successful when they bussed girls in from the different schools. It was just important for them to see that you can do this job, you can do that job.
2 16-year-old girls put on this event.
That's cool.
They sat in this room, they worked with the superintendent's
Mhm.
office, and they've had 2 events now. And so I get on the bus before the girls get off, and I tell them, just a heads up, 2 16-year-old girls plan this entire event. And so make sure you talk to as many businesses as you can. So then I get on the bus after the girls get on the bus because we like have to kick them out because there's another bus coming. And they're so fired up to be here because there's no boys in the way, so they're not stepping back. They're not taking the back seat. So I get on the bus and I say, so how'd it go? What do you think? And the girls are out of their head. They're like, oh my God, I want to do all those jobs. Because we have everybody. We have police, we have state troopers, we have engineers, we have everything and anything. And so now, so we've done it twice. And so now, because I'm as crazy as I am, I want a separate building and I want to create a high school program for high school girls. Because so many businesses now have training programs and they're looking for high school students, not college graduates with tons of debt. And they want to put them in a training program. So I want a separate building just for high school girls. And I want to bring these businesses in and put these training programs in the business and then build them up through your training programs and then hire them. And so I had the CEO of Eversource in here. And so I said to him, I said, here's the thing. I said, the majority of your employees are retirement age. It's like, I know. I said, I did too. I said, but you know what? I said, you're totally missing the boat. I said, our girls have been through such struggles in the environments they live in. I said, you believe in these girls, you put them in a training, you support them, and you pay them well. I said, do you think any challenge you throw at them is going to register compared to what they've been through? And he just had this look, right? And he was like, I never thought of that. I said, why would you? I said, you want the best employees? This is where you're going to find out. He's like, okay, when are you doing this? I said, I got to get a building first. But how cool is that? Just a trade building for girls, for high school girls?
That'd be amazing.
Right? Let's talk workforce development.
Yeah.
A lot of those jobs don't seem like something that girls would, like, I want to be a lineman.
They're
It's
walking
not
around here.
common.
I can't believe all these jobs I can have. I can't.
Yeah. They're great, good paying careers
Oh my
in
God.
manufacturing, in the trades, in a number of areas. And
Tons of it.
companies and organizations are really hungry for young
Absolutely.
workers. And they even have internal training programs. If someone doesn't have the skills or
A
just
lot of
has a
them
little
do.
bit of knowledge, they're able to put them through
Yep.
their own program and get them working.
Even
And,
Army's designing a program
Yep.
right now. Like,
Yep.
I'm like, okay, let's do this. So yeah, we're gonna go after some funding for that.
That's great.
Because the state and the feds reached out and I just wasn't ready for any of it.
Yeah.
But then I started connecting dots and I'm like, oh my God, we're totally doing this.
Yeah.
Totally doing
And
this.
the opportunities there aren't going away
No.
with economic cycles. I mean, this is a long-term challenge for New Hampshire as one of the oldest states in the country. Like, how do we gear up to have the workforce that we need, the number
the
of
demand is
teachers and
increasing.
folks in law enforcement?
Yeah.
We need those young people right here.
But even
Yep.
just for women to realize that that's something that they can do.
Yeah.
The very first time I came here, I was bought in instantly because one of the girls, I had mentioned my son, oh, you're 8, my son is 8. And they were like, you have a son? You're a mom? And a police officer? Like, so confused. And I was like, yes, it is, you can do both. And they were like, whoa. And I was like,
They don't see
okay,
it.
we need to talk more. Like,
Yeah.
this is a roadblock in these young girls growing up. They don't
Yeah.
realize that they can have a family and have a career. That to me was like, all right, I'm gonna come back here and talk to these kids more because it's so important to learn that you don't have to choose between having a family and doing whatever you want. You can do all of the things. And to
But
me, that was like,
the messaging is not changing, right? Girls just don't see these opportunities.
right.
Yeah, when I go to, and meet with families to tell them about girls that work in our other programs, talking about what they would like, what they're able to do, and mentioning girls at work, and that it's girls empowerment through woodworking. I get a lot of them being like, "Oh, what? That exists?" And then I get moms wishing and being like, "I wish that existed when I was that age, and
Oh my God, I
I
do
wish
that.
this." And it's like, well, now you can see your daughter do it, and it's just the kids are like, "When can I start?"
It's really great.
So yeah, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's some common themes here that are just so powerful, and it's ensuring that kids have someone in their corner, ensuring that they know what possibilities lie ahead of them, and you're doing that one day at a time, so we're so grateful.
And it's so easy to be in their corner. They're just awesome.
It doesn't take a lot to buy in.
No.
It's pretty natural.
Well, and you can peek in the windows on the way out, and they're just amazing. I mean, they're just every one of them, and regardless of what trauma they've experienced or what messages they've bought into that are completely opposite of who they are, I feel like this that timing of them using power tools sort of, I feel like it like silences all the BS. It just turns them on to who they are, and it's kind of hard. It's like you never forget how to ride a bike, right? So it's like they're going through this process over and over and over, you know, and then they're sitting on a picnic table and they're like, damn, what? I built this? So it's like that doesn't go away. It's always there.
There's a family that I visited about a month ago, and she had already been through the Girls at Work program a couple of years ago, and she came back every year. And so, I mean, we don't know that until we are meeting with the families. And so the daughter wasn't there at the time, but the mom just goes through and picks up every single project that she's made. She's like, oh, she made this. And you can see that it's being utilized in the home. Like it's in her bedroom being used. And then she's like, oh, she's so proud of this one. It's
That is true.
yeah, great. It just echoes for years.
We had a really little kid last week. Little, she was tiny. Holy cow! And I said, her attention span wasn't really there. So we're sitting at the counter. We have a lot of watermelon breaks. I said, so how's it going, Builder? Good. I said, you having fun here? She's like, yeah. I brought my bench home and my mom thought I bought it at the store. I said, your mom thought you bought it at the store? She's like, yeah, she even given me an award. She gave me an award. I got an award for my bench. She given me an award. I mean, it's, you know, kids were creating before they were speaking. It's not rocket science. It's, you know, and they only use two tools. They use a cordless sander and a cordless screwdriver. And they're just on fire. And it's all practical stuff, so it's all stuff they're using at home. So I want to partner eventually with, what's the nonprofit that makes beds? Rest in peace, heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
I've heard about it. I haven't.
Yeah, they do these huge events they make beds for kids who don't have beds. We want to partner with them. Because, you know, there's not enough going on.
Yeah.
The team's like, wait, what? I'm like, you love it. You love it. Because we do a team build with the picnic tables, but I want to start doing our team builds with making beds for kids who don't have beds.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
There's so much that can be done through here.
Yeah, there is.
Luckily, Elaine has the hunger for it. She's as you can see, nonstop.
My staff doesn't say luckily.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now what?
Well, you give them Fridays off, so.
Yeah, except for the summer. Summers are long. 7 weeks is long. We have one more week after this week.
Yeah.
So by the end of this week, this eye will be going this way. But there's
No, that's great. You're giving these kids a great experience.
Oh, it's just awesome.
And
It's
thank you
just
for the
awesome.
support that you give Acer. It would be amazing for it to be a completely national model and for it to be seen throughout the U.S. That would just
Absolutely.
the amount of impact that it's made on Manchester, and I know there's 20 other towns that have it as well. To see that all over the U.S.
The trainings are what excite me the most. Getting those trainings out everywhere. Because that's, not just in and of itself is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
But
It's
then
invaluable.
right, but then to think of the law enforcement that get to hand these kids into caring organizations, not hand off and good luck. It's like, here, they'll take you next, right? Every step of the way we're going to have such an awesome model.
Yeah.
Very excited to be part of it.
It's
and
good.
it's psyched you're supporting it because it's a much needed partnership.
It needs that support. So we are grateful for that.
Yeah, I
It's
know
just something that would never, if it went away, we'd be in trouble.
Yeah. In addition to kind of seeing how we can share this with the rest of the country, we're also focused on how we can support sustaining this effort here. And recently we got a significant grant for the YWCA that is helpful, and we'll keep working to help meet the needs to ensure this continues to have momentum here in Manchester. So just thank you for all your work. I appreciate it, and you're always so generous with your time, letting us pop in, and
Anytime.
I learn something new every time. So
Anytime.
I appreciate
Always
it.
welcome. Always welcome. Happy to be on this team. Super psyched.
If you need more work, you can always, we have a prime office space that you can always decorate the windows. Because I know you brought some what were they, trees? I think the girls built some. But if you
Yeah, it was
need
one
more
Christmas
decorations-
maybe,
Oh,
there were
yeah.
some
Yeah,
trees
so
in the
if
window.
that's a project, we have the space, you're more than willing.
Yeah, right across from
to-
City Hall, nice storefront.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Challenge accepted.
We'll see
Yeah.
what
We're
the
always
girls-
looking for stuff that's colorful, fun, to grab people's eyes, and
Okay,
So-
shoot me a picture of the window. I'll put the girls on it.
sounds great.
That's awesome. Nice. Cool.
Terrific. All right, well, we'll leave you to it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
thanks for what
Thank
you
you.
do.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. Thanks for being here today.
I know, what an awesome partnership.
Yeah,